got that cherry bomb.
Welcome to Breaking Beauty Podcast, Chriselle.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. I flew in just for you guys.
Thank you so much.
So nice to hear it. We want to really congratulate you, first of all, because you recently received some high praise in WWD. Your fine fragrance brand Phlur was named one of the most powerful brands in beauty in 2024. And that's high praise. It was right up there with Say, Rhode, Patrick Ta.
Is it like winning an Oscar where someone wakes you up, your publicist calls you, guess what?
Honestly, it doesn't feel real. I know that it's out there and everyone has read the article and people are congratulating me, but I feel like I'm kind of floating at this point. You know, when you're in the weeds and you're working so hard, building something from the ground up, it's so hard to see yourself outside of that. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I'm just like in the hustle every single day. And so to be recognized by some of these brands that I personally look up to, that I really admire, it doesn't feel real.
Because you're always just working ahead and on to the next thing, right?
Yeah. And I think when you're in building mode, and we're really in kind of growth mode right now with Phlur, is that we're continuously coming out with newness. That's something that's very important to myself and the Gen Z audience, because it's important to give them kind of a variety of things, right? And so we're always on to the next thing so quick.
So let's talk a little bit more about how you got started with Phlur, because I know you came on to give it a bit of a second life, and most people do not know that. So talk to us about when it came into your life and what the journey's been like.
Yeah, so Phlur came into my life at a very inconvenient time when I was actually going through my divorce. And I actually met my co-founder, Ben Bennett, who is the founder of the center. And we have a lot of mutual friends. And he was like, you know, Chriselle, I'm thinking about acquiring this brand Phlur, but I want to do it with you. I think you are the perfect partner, the perfect fit for it. And I've actually heard of Phlur before. I had a few of their fragrances before, and it was, I loved it. It sat on kind of I've always had a perfume wardrobe, and so it was sat on my perfume wardrobe, and I've seen it, and I never thought or imagined myself to be the founder of Phlur, yet alone of any fragrance brand. Mm-hmm. And so it really took me a second, actually a few weeks, for it to marinate. And I told him, you know, it's not the best time right now, but let me think about it. And he said something to me one day, and he was like, you know, Phlur is coming into its second life, and so are you. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of synergy here and a lot of storytelling that you can do. And that's when I was like, oh, okay. I think there's something that really hit me, because I was in the chapter of my life where I was starting over, and I wasn't really sure of the direction I wanted to go in, but I knew that I was excited, and I had a lot of just stories to tell people through all the experiences that I've gone through. And so I viewed it as a way to learn from one of the top not one, but a lot of top noses that I've looked up to, but also to be able to tell many different stories through scent.
Wow. And that was in 2022, is that right?
2021.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Missing Person. Oh, amazing. I love to hear that.
I love it.
So Missing Person was our very first fragrance. And the truth of that story, because some people come up to me, a lot of different brands, fragrance houses, they're like, how did you do that? What is the secret sauce to getting a scent to go that viral? But the truth is that we didn't even know if we could sell like 50 of them. Because one, no one's ever successfully sold fragrance online without smelling it at a counter or in person first. Right. So keep in mind that when we relaunched Phlur, we were not available anywhere. Right. So it's not like, oh, I see that Phlur has this new scent, let me go try it out. So that being struggle one.
Right.
Struggle two is that we were taking kind of a new approach to fragrance. You know, here, most fragrance houses, and what I've typically bought into and learned from fragrance houses is that you paint this beautiful picture, this idea of a grand life, you know, a beautiful flower field that you're running through,
Yeah.
or, you know, you're building up aspiration, right? But I said, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to do that right now. I'm in a shitty place. Am I allowed to cuss on here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm in a shitty place. I don't feel well. I am lonely. I am missing a piece of me that is no longer there. I can't fake that, right? I can't fake that my life is great. And I said, why don't I share this story of missing this moment in my life, missing being loved, missing being held by someone, that skin to skin intimacy. And that is what I was craving at that moment. And so that was the risk number two of, okay, I'm literally here just telling people that I'm depressed
Right.
and buy my perfume.
Not usually the conventional
Yeah.
place to start.
They're
in
like,
a
can you be
marketing journey."
depressed
Yeah.
but in grass?
So on
Run through some floral fields or something.
and funny enough, when it started picking up on TikTok, people were calling it the sad girl fragrance, which was not intended to be that. But what I realized through Missing Person and through that experience was that everyone, we all share the same emotions. We all have different experiences, and we actually have etched on our bottle. I don't know if you see the little engraving. It says something along the lines of we all have different experiences but share the same emotions, and that's what Phlur brings to with every scent, and it brings a certain emotion out. And so when we launched Missing Person, I realized that more people felt seen than they've ever had after sharing that vulnerable story of mine. And then people started ordering, you know, we got a few hundred orders, 1,000 orders, and then it started really picking up once people started receiving it and they were experiencing of their own. If you type in Missing Person TikTok on TikTok, you will see thousands of videos of girls spraying it, crying, sharing their missed moment or their missed person. And it became more than a fragrance. It became therapy. It became a healing scent for so many people. And so that's how Missing Person was born, and how it went viral is that I think it really struck a chord with so many people through
Right.
that relatable emotion.
I love that you called it like your version of a breakup album, which I think really kind of puts it like a point on everything you just said.
For our listeners, if they haven't smelled it already, what does it smell like? What does it smell like to you personally?
So Missing Person is unique to everyone because on the top note is skin musk. And so once it sits onto your skin, settles down onto your skin, it takes a life of its own. So some people on their skin, it smells fresh and clean. Others, it smells musky and a little bit more skin-like. For me, I smell more of the muskiness. And so when we were developing this scent with our our nose Jill, I asked her, okay, how do we capture a warm hug? How do we capture as if you're like nuzzled into someone's neck, as if you're so close to someone, but it's not a projecting scent, it's an intimate scent. So it's something that only people that are very intimate with you will notice. You notice it yourself, and anyone that's really intimate with you. It's not like one of those scents where you walk in and you smell it. And so for me personally, whenever I spray it, I actually was spraying Missing Person at night a lot before I went to bed because I was so lonely during that period. And as we were developing it, I really wanted to feel like, and this sounds kind of strange, but I was married for around 8 years, and I was with this person for about a total of 15 years. So the hardest part for me personally during that breakup and like that transition period was that emptiness of like no one being next to you, that empty bed. And so I sprayed it at night all around my bed sheets, my pillow sheets. And I wanted to smell like there was somebody there, which sounds so creepy. But that is what I get, is I smell the muskiness of someone's skin, but not in like a dirty way, in a very clean, fresh,
Yeah, definitely.
fresh way. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about like some of the feedback that you've gotten. Were there any particularly wild like DMs you got? People were complimenting the fragrance, but you were like, whoa, didn't anticipate people sharing this much about it. Was there something that really stands out? Or what compliment have you personally gotten?
The name is a little I guess unexpected, right? And so if you don't know the backstory of where missing person comes from and kind of the narrative behind that, then you could easily judge and be like, what kind of name is that, right? That's so insensitive or whatnot. So we were getting a few of those, but
right.
Oh, I see.
yeah. But for the most part, it was very positive, overwhelmingly positive, to the point where like even my friend, and, you know, because I have a lot of friends that are...
She has a lot of posh friends, okay?
Yeah, I have a lot of posh friends that can afford very nice things. But their go-to signature scent now, not now, but like back then when we first launched it was missing person, and some of them it still is. And I'm like, you could pick any scent out there. I'm not even pushing my product on you. And that's when I know like it's good, right? When my
What a
posh
compliment.
friends,
And so is Missing Person the bestseller now, or has something else risen to being bestseller status?
Missing person is still our top 3, but we recently had another viral moment, which actually is an interesting story because, again, not planned, but we launched body mist. We launched body mist as a different category than our Eau de Perfumes, and we launched with 3 scents, which was Amber Haze, Vanilla Skin, and Mango Mood. They all did very well, but there was one that went incredibly viral, which was Vanilla Skin.
I was going to say, is it Vanilla Skin? Which
Yeah.
I'm
Makes
wearing on
sense.
my left arm.
Oh, wow. I'm
Yeah.
wearing Vanilla Skin today, too.
But not I'm just wearing the
perfume.
The
Not
perfume,
mist.
okay.
Not the mist, yeah.
So it really took off again on TikTok. I think it was a different category for us. It was a younger consumer. I think body mist has been an interesting experiment for us because, again, it's a different consumer that wants body mist versus a fine fragrance. And so that really took off on TikTok. And so what we were seeing a lot was, make this into a fine fragrance, please. And so we actually turned the body mist, Vanilla Skin body mist, into an Eau de Perfume.
Oh, cool.
And we're starting to like build out the skin family, because the skins, even though Missing Person isn't labeled with skin on the title, on the name, it is a skin mask. And I think that is, when you think of Phlur, that's what you really think of, is something that is very intimate and close. So any of our skins really take off. So once we launched Vanilla Skin, we just recently launched Coconut Skin, Caramel Skin, and then Heavy Cream, which is kind of a separate category of just gourmands. But yeah, it's been pretty wild just to see the growth of our body mist category and Vanilla Skin just as a fragrance in itself. And I think because we're trying to figure out why, because there's plenty of vanilla fragrances out there, lots of wonderful ones out there. And we're trying to figure out why this one really hit to the audience. And I think typically with vanilla, you think you kind of have an idea, because it is a classic traditional note. So you kind of have an idea of how it would smell. But it's a very grown, lived in, sexy, mature vanilla. It's not too cute. It's not too cupcakey. It's not too sweet. Again, it's that ending skin musk. It's that woodiness, that dry down. We call that the Phlur formula. It's like we always open it with kind of this sweet, bright note, and then it kind of warms down into more of like a musky note.
So now you offer body oils, the mists, perfume, eau de parfum, and it can be a bit confusing. when is a good time for someone to choose one versus the other? Like, what kind of rule of thumb would you give?
So oils are, I feel like people that really love fragrance, they get into the oils because oils typically have a higher concentration. So you just get a lot more of that density and lasting power. And so we do have the missing person body oil, which is actually hands down, I think my by far my favorite product of all of Fleur. It There's something about that oil that really brings out that scent in missing person. I think Sephora has it here in Sephora Canada.
So if someone's more of a fragrance novice, maybe start with the mists, but then, or if you're like more experienced, then you dive into the oils.
Yes, a trick that I do is if I want to kind of add a little umph to my missing person fragrance or really any other fragrance, I will dab the oil onto kind of like my heat points, which is like, you know, your neck, your wrist, and then I'll dab my spray on.
Okay.
Yeah, just to add a little layer and lasting power.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say we've had questions before from our listeners about they're looking for hacks for making fragrance last longer.
You know, adding, you know, an oil or even a body lotion before you add on your fragrance. Again, it's the concentration of oil that will help with the lasting power. So when you add on, especially like a fragrance oil, that will really extend the life of a fragrance.
Okay. So you do the spray first, then you get into the oil after, then the
No.
lotion, then the
Fragrance-
oil. What's the order?
Fragrance first.
Yeah.
So dab on fragrance. You don't have to like do a full leg or like a chest moment. Just dab it on here, where you typically would spray your fragrance, and then go in with the fragrance after.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you even have the body mists are for hair as well, are they
Yeah.
not? Okay. They're formulated for that. Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, I'm staring at your flawless skin right now, so we have to get into your skincare must. And I remember visiting your blog back in the day because you had an article, the difference between K Beauty Essence and K Beauty Toner, and I was like, let me read this because you're a K Beauty girly. And so, like, what are you using right now? Are you doing doing more? Like, what's on your top shelf?
I have pretty sensitive skin, so I could tell when it's like having its moment. And so I'm like, okay, this is when I need to like take a detox, like not use any crazy new ingredients or new products that my skin will freak out on. So I use this Korean brand. There's two, but one of them is called Estura.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys know of Estura?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's great.
It's kind of like the K Beauty version of like La Roche-Posay or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So
like a dermatological brand.
So Estura is actually the #1 derm brand in Korea.
Yeah.
And so if you go to any like plastic surgeons, like very well-known plastic surgeons or dermatologists in Korea, you will see Estura on their shelf. And so even though it's kind of like this Amazon brand, it is very reputable in Korea. In Korea, there's something called Olive Young, which is like the Sephora of Korea. Estura is also the #1 derm brand in Olive Young as well. And so there's this one cream called 365 Auto Barrier Cream. It's a very, very simple, mild cream, great for sensitive skin. It has these like tiny little beads. It's like these capsules.
Okay.
And they have like fatty acids in them. And it's just a very simple formula. And there's no scent. It's just very, very simple. And it's even safe for kids to use. So my daughter, she deals with eczema. So I also put it on her as well. She can use it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that line, and it's pretty affordable too.
Actually, I think I have it here.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I talked about it when it first came to
You were
North
onto
America. I
it.
was
Yeah.
on it because I have sensitive skin too. It's
And
a great
so
one.
affordable.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the thing with skincare. Yes, there's incredible brands, luxury brands that work but are very expensive. But there's also incredible brands that are very well priced that also work as well.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. That's where K Beauty really wins.
Crushes
They
it.
do. They
Give us
do.
a splurge though.
A
What are you
splurge.
loving?
Oh gosh. Okay.
So good.
Is that which
What a
product?
throwback. I love that.
Is it a serum? What is it? I actually haven't tried a lot of La Prairie.
It's like their, I don't use a serum, but it's more of like a thicker toner essence. So when you, it's like a big bottle. When you apply it on, it feels more gooey.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I just I'm out and I'm like, okay, do I want to buy another
Do I or
one? Because
don't
it's
I?
quite expensive. But I love that one. And it's also the experience. I know
Yeah.
like people that are sensitive, they can't really deal with scent in fragrances. Or sorry, scent in their skincare.
Yeah.
But something about the scent really like get me in the moment of like winding down.
Yeah.
And that's what that does. Also, another serum that I've been using for over, I would say 8 years now is Clos de Peau Beauté, the serum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like, hands down, my most used serum, but again, quite pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love pricey things too. I'm a bougie bitch. Okay. And so now in a recent TikTok, you mentioned that it's been a couple of years since you've done Botox or fillers. Talk us through that decision a bit and where you kind of stand with cosmetic treatments today.
Well, this is interesting because I've been getting Botox and fillers. Actually, I've been getting Botox for probably about 8 years now. Fillers, probably, I would say about 3 years. And so, just to be completely transparent, I'm super transparent with my audience, is I got eye surgery. So I got the upper bleph and the lower bleph. And that, it was such a traumatic experience. And I talk a little bit about that like throughout my TikTok and such.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some of your
Yeah.
chats about that. Yeah.
It was a really traumatic experience and a very long recovery. It scared me. It really scared me. And I think do I regret getting it? No, I'm not 1,000% happy with how it turned out, but for the most part, we all can, be dissatisfied with anything, right? So for me,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it's done. I'm satisfied for the most part, and we're moving on. But would I ever do something like that again? I don't think so, because the experience was so intense. And so after that experience, I just stopped getting anything. And I do go to Korea to get like laser treatment and skincare that are not invasive or that has to do with needles. But I just went into a little bit of a shock mode after that.
Can you remind me, Chriselle? I feel as though there was a backstory to your story where you had maybe one done and then a different doctor fixed it or something. Am I totally off base?
No, not at all. So, okay, backstory of my eyes is that
This is what I really want to know. I'm like,
Yeah,
what
yeah. No, I'm
happened?
serious. No, I think people want to know.
yeah, and I think it's, for me, it's all about being transparent just in case, someone is interested and they actually know the realities of it. And I don't know if you have any background with like Korean culture, but it's very, very normal for Korean girls especially to get double eyelid surgery, which is upper.
Yeah.
When they're young, like in high school. Like it's almost like
a nose
a
job.
nose job
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the US, right?
Rite of passage. sort of
Yes,
thing. Yeah.
yes. And it was fine. Like I didn't think anything of it. Recovery was a lot easier because you're so much younger. And life moves on. And I from then I never thought of my eyes until I think probably in my late 20s when I started to see a lot of droopiness. And I also, because I was on camera a lot, I just started noticing things where people would comment like, "Oh, are you tired? You look like you didn't get enough sleep." I'm like, "No, I'm not tired. I'm
Yeah, we
totally
need
fine."
to
I'm like,
issue a moratorium. There's no more commenting. Are you tired ever on anyone's photo?
yeah. And so it's such a superficial way to look at things, but I was very sick and tired of people assuming that I was tired and exhausted by just
Right.
looking at my eyes because I just I didn't have the muscle strength to open up my eyes very large. And
Right.
so I just kind of pushed it off. And I think it was after my divorce, I was like, this is the time. Like, I just have to do it. I've been thinking about it for over 10 years now. I just have to get it done. And so I'm glad that I got it done. I probably, if I could go back in time, I probably would have done more research, gotten a referral through close friends in Korea, just because I think their technology is a lot faster, and recovery time. Not saying that everyone in Korea is great. You still have to do your research. But I think just the healing process, because I have a lot of friends that have gotten it done recently as well, it's just night and day of how.
So you're saying you got your second one done in the U.S.
I got my second one done in the U.S. By a very well-known Korean doctor, but I don't know, it just didn't really work out the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
But then I had to go back. So I had that first surgery, and then I went back into surgery because I got this big infection in my eye.
Oh, okay.
And then they had to operate it on it again.
No.
And so I went in for
Terrible.
the second time.
Yeah.
And then a
Wow.
third time they had to fix something. It wasn't a full-on surgery, but they had to fix something. So technically I had to undergo the knife 3 times for one.
Yeah.
That should have been
Procedure.
one procedure.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
And so after that, I was like, I do not want to see a needle
Yeah.
or a single knife
Yeah.
ever again.
Absolutely.
And I was really traumatized. And by the way,
Yeah.
this is the first time I'm telling the full story like
Okay,
this with you
okay.
guys. So
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It's it is important. Are you mostly at peace with it now, would you
I
say?
am.
Yeah.
I'm like really
yeah.
at peace with it. I think, it was making me feel very insecure in the beginning because I still had to work. How I make a living and how I'm able to feed my family and how I'm able to continue my business and keep this roof under my head is by putting myself out on camera.
right.
So I had to show up on camera still. And though majority of people were very nice and sensitive about it, there was a good amount of people that were just saying really nasty things about it. And at first I was like, it's fine. I could take the comments. Like it's, I'm tough. But then after hearing it month after month, then like she fucked up her face. She's botched. Da, 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 da. You're just like, wow, that really hurt me. Like I don't want to hear that anymore.
Yeah.
And so that was a period where I was just like not okay with it. But I think now that I'm in a place where I'm healthy, I feel good. I like how I look. I've come to peace with it. Yeah.
And it can take a long time to heal as well. Like your
Yeah.
eyes look amazing,
Thank
by the
you,
way, and
thank
they're
you.
very symmetrical from what I
you.
can tell.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the botched comes from, but you look great. So
I think it's, when you put yourself out there for so long on the internet and people compare like how you were before to where you are now.
Yeah.
They're just like, why would you mess up your face? You look so
Yeah.
different. What
Yeah.
I'm used to getting those type of comments because I put my entire life on the internet,
Right.
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
subject for judgment,
Yeah.
and that's the risk that you take, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also only human too.
Jill saw this. Your 9-year-old was doing a really cute get ready with me
So cute.
video on TikTok.
What's her name? The 9-year-old?
Chloe.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Adorable.
And so, I'm curious to know, like with all of the headlines earlier this year around teens shopping at, Sephora, that kind of thing. What's your take?
Oh wow. Well, I love my 10-year-olds at Sephora because they love Flur.
True.
But at the same time, I think it's important for me personally because I am, one, a beauty founder, two, an influencer, that I teach her all these things, beauty, content creation, in a very responsible way. And so as of now, my 9-year-old, almost 10-year-old daughter doesn't have a phone, doesn't have social media.
Okay.
She understands what I do because I'm constantly always filming, and I let her be a part of the process. And that's a big, big important thing for me to show her, is that these things that show up online doesn't just show up. They get edited down, they get filtered, there's a lot of things that go into it before what you see as an ad or as someone's content. And so I let her watch me do it. Right now she doesn't really care, but I'm hoping that and the reality is that she's gonna have a phone at some point, she's gonna have social media at some point. When that is, I don't know. I'm trying to hold off as long as I can. But when she gets there, I want her to outsmart the algorithm. I want her to be like, oh, this is an ad and it's clearly not real. You know, this girl clearly got paid, or this girl clearly, you know, that doesn't look like her body or her face or whatever. I want her to understand these things. And as far as beauty routine, I am a co-parent, so my girls are only with me half the time. So it's 1 week on, 1 week off. And, you know, I'm very proud of the kind of schedule that their dad and I have created for them, because I feel like they're really thriving right now. But I understand that when they're with their dad is not going to be pushing them to put on SPF and moisturizer. That's just the reality of things. He's a great dad, but that's just not what he's going to do. And Chloe does have eczema. So it's been very important for me to teach her why she needs to put on moisturizer every single day, why she needs to put on SPF every single day, even when I'm not there to tell her. She needs to feel responsible for her own skin, because that is her skin. And so I think the fact that when the girls are not with me all the time has allowed me to teach them how to be responsible for themselves, and getting ready is one of them. And she has a lot of cute little products.
Yeah, her top shelf is poppin'.
Her
I will
top
say.
shelf is poppin', but she doesn't use them.
Yeah.
She has them
It's
for
they're like little
vanity
trophies.
sake. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what my friends was saying about her twin sons that are 12. They just want all of the fragrance bottles. This is what they're asking for their birthday.
Yeah.
But it's like they're putting them in the room. She's like, their rooms are disgusting. They're so messy, but they like put them up like they're trophies.
Yeah.
The lightning
don't
bolt
you
bottle
remember
or
when
whatever.
we were that age, it was all you collected. You collected
Yeah.
stickers.
Right,
you
right,
collected
right. That's
everything.
it.
Now it's
you know?
beauty products and
Collecting
fragrance
the
bottles.
drunk elephant skincare products.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're
It's
doing.
Like,
For all the style girlies out there, we need to know a couple of your favorite fall purchases that you're making, and maybe a couple of makeup ones. Let's hear that as well.
okay, so fall purchases.
What are the brands or like designers?
I
right
shop
now?
a lot at Frankie Shop. Like that's like my go-to, just
Yeah.
because
Love it.
I think they're really on top of trends, but in a very cool, understated way, and the price points are relatively good.
Yeah.
So I think I've been into this oversized thing for way too long. I'm starting to see a little bit more tailoring come back, which is nice. And so whether it's like a nip at like the waist a little bit, but I've just been living in like baggy blazers, baggy pants, all of that. So I'm seeing a little bit more tailored pieces, which I'm very excited about. I think that I live in basics, but I like layering basics. So having a great blazer, a great button up, great, I don't know, jean. I wish I could tell you more about fashion. I'm a fashion girly, but I'm like, I really don't shop that much. I'm also trying to think what else is. Oh, you know what's really nice right now that I'm loving is a lot of that like organza texture. It's like sheer. I actually have a skirt that I brought that I'm gonna wear one of these I think tomorrow. It's like a sheer skirt, but with like that whole trend of like showing your underwear.
Yeah.
I'm over that. Like we're not doing that anymore.
Okay.
But it's like it's
She's
sheer.
demure. She's mindful
She's
now.
demure and she's mindful. She's appropriate. She's approachable.
You have to guess the color of her underwear. You know?
So even though it's sheer, wearing kind of like an oversized blouse, so it's covering, so it looks like a skirt on top.
Yeah.
So you don't, you see the sheerness from the leg down, but you don't really see your underwear or anything.
Right.
So I'm really into sheer organza things.
I love your watch today. It's
Yeah.
like
Thank you.
everybody. It's like a wraparound kind of coily snake kind of thing.
This
Is
was
it
a
a-
gift to myself. This is a Bulgari Serpenti watch, and I bought. So a little fun thing that I do for myself every birthday is because I laugh because I'm in fashion, but I never shop for myself ever. But the one day that I do get myself something really, really nice is on my birthday, because I've never been a birthday girl, but I realized that I needed to walk away from something that was very toxic and not serving me on my birthday, which was kind of my Independence Day, I call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was 4 years ago on my birthday when I realized that. And so now every birthday, I do one nice purchase for myself.
Yeah.
So I don't shop for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And if I do, it's usually like at Zara or like
basics,
Frankie
yeah.
shop or like basics. And then
Yeah.
I'll do like one really nice piece a year for
Well,
myself.
I love,
yeah.
love that watch. Now, if there's a makeup item coming in for fall, what would that be?
I'm a blush girl, so I love a blush that could work as a blush, a lip, a shadow. I just received the Makeup by Mario blushes.
Yes, they're so cute.
Have you guys tried them? They're like
Yeah.
the summer melting.
Yeah.
I'm a little late
Try
because
those yet?
Yeah,
It's
they're
more
they're like
fall.
the pop. They're
It's the
I think,
pop.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's what I need. Like all I need is just like a pop on my cheek that could be my lip and then
Yeah.
my eyes. So that's
Yeah.
what I've been really
Yeah.
into.
Now, I have to ask you one more thing because I noticed in a lot of your videos, you kind of have a signature nail color. It's either what you're wearing right now or a
Which
nude.
is?
Tell me, am I wrong in picking that
Nope,
up?
you're completely spot on with that. Although my nail did break today.
Always happens when you travel.
I know. Well, I love red. I love the color of red. I think it's a nice pop, but I think I'm not a classic red girl. So
Yeah.
this has always been kind of like my go-to, which is like a deep burgundy red.
Yeah, it kind of looks
Like
like
a
Essie
plum.
Wicked,
Yes.
if I were to say, or like Chanel Vamp.
Yes, Chanel Vamp is a good one.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like my year-round color, though it really is appropriate for the fall. It's
Yeah.
like I love wearing this in the fall, but I kind of wear it all year round. I think
Yeah.
my style naturally is a little bit more like classic, but like effortless and cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like this deeper red shade is a reflection of my personal
Yeah.
style. It's classic. She's
Yeah.
classic, but demure.
Yes, 100%.
Thank you so much for your time and your openness, your generosity with us today.
And congrats again on just crushing it. You're
Thank
crushing
you.
it.
Same to you guys. I'm obsessed with your
you.
podcast,
Oh,
and you
thank
guys
you.
have so many incredible founders on your podcast. So thank you
you.
for even considering me and
Of
Flur.
course.
So thank
Of
you very much.
course, of
Thank
course.
you.
Dear Media siblings for life,
I
basically.
know. I know. We love our
Thank
Dear
you.
Media fam.
Thank you so much.